Hi everyone, Tony from Miro here. In this short video, I would love for us to do a little challenge. We will have 15 minutes to come up with a new startup idea and have all the deliverables we need to start pitching investors and start getting feedback from our prospective customers. Let's get started. So 15 minutes timer, let's go. To get us going, we will need to come up with a few keywords or areas we want our startup to operate in. To do so, I'll of course use some good old sticky notes. And in there, we'll write down the areas we want to have our startup operate in. Of course, AI is pretty hot this year, so let's just make sure we have an AI sticky note in here. Another thing that all of us are probably hearing often is companies working with drones and robots. We are also seeing a resurgence of fast delivery e-commerce, and we are also seeing more and more companies enter the micro satellites space now that access to space has gotten so cheap with SpaceX. So we have this very futuristic, tech-focused keywords, and so now we're going to use AI to help us turn this into all the things we need to start a company. So first of all, we will connect this to a document AI generator, and this will be creating a startup concept from these keywords. Find it a name, describe what the MVP product does. And so this will give us our startup concept, and then we'll turn that into a slide deck, presentation to pitch investors and raise a pre-seed funding round. I'll move this above so we have more space. We're also going to need a logo, so I'm going to select an image output here, create a logo for this startup, make it clean, simple, Silicon Valley inspired. And what else? We're going to then also take our startup concept and generate an MVP. So for this, I'll select prototype output, and here we'll say create the customer facing MVP app for this startup. And what we'll also do is actually, once we're going to have our mobile MVP, we're going to create also a desktop version. So create a desktop web app for this startup. Okay. We'll also base this off the concept, not just the mobile MVP. And let's see. Okay, I would also love for us to turn this MVP into a user journey diagram, so we can actually start looking at the user journey a bit more in details. Create the map the user journey for a new customer joining this app. All right. And last but not least, we will need to build this at some point if we are to, build this company. So we will create a table here, and this table, we're going to connect both this mobile MVP prototype as well as the web app MVP prototype. And here this is going to be for creating a project management table to track progress towards building these two apps. So we have our mobile app and our web app. Decompose the most important piece lines of work into bite-sized projects. Cool. So now we're going to actually go back in the beginning and hit run. And what this will do, it will basically take the 4 keywords we've defined here. They will flow into this document generator. And once the document generator is completed, this will then flow into each of these different nodes where we're going to generate some new artifacts. And so you can see where the output of this will also then feed into this other node, and so on and so forth, until we've completed all the steps of that workflow. So it will take a few minutes, I guess 5-ish. So see you in a minute, and we'll see what we got. All right, the flow has completed. We're gonna stop our timer right now, and let's see what we got. So if we go back to the beginning, this was basically our 4 categories, which were turned into a startup concept, sky grid. You give it a name, describe what the name does, why the name, overview of what the company does, and an MVP product description of exactly what this service offers. And one thing I didn't show you, but you could actually go as far as select the model you want to run this specific node, attach it to knowledge, search the web, and so on. Then once our document concept was finalized, this was fed into a logo generator, where we basically came up with a logo for our company. We could also just select a new model here if you want to just iterate on different output. We also generated our pre-seed pitch deck, which you can see here, with basically all the slides that we need to tell a story over the company. What do we do? What's the value proposition? MVP target? Go-to-market strategy? This is basically like a base to start from. This is not going to replace doing the work manually, but it just provides a base that speed track that work. And apparently we're going to raise $2.5 million as a pre-seed. And if we go down, we also let's clean up. Things were generated as huge prototype here and a diagram. So what we did then, we generated like an MVP of a mobile app. So you can see here we have this SkyGrid Express app where customers can basically pick food items and get them delivered through drones and robots. And this entire thing is fully customizable. I can move things around, change colors, and so on and so forth. And I can also interact with this. So if I go into the preview mode, I can interact with this prototype, just like that, a few seconds after generation. Then using the mobile app and the brief, we also came up with a web app experience, which is basically the same thing in a web app format, to just visualize how these 2 different way of interacting with the platform could look like. So complete delivery, screen, account settings, basically everything we need as a baseline to start designing our solution. And everything here is also interactive. So if I also go into preview here, I can actually start interacting with this prototype. Cool. If we go then to the other step we did, which was generating a diagram for the user journey of a new customer joining the app. And if we go into focus mode here, we can basically see our diagram and modify it. So welcome screen, login, you can see basically like all the branching of what the user will do once they are interacting with our platform. So that gives us an availability to visualize that user flow, optimize things, change it, and iterate. And last but not least, we've also generated like a project management table to track progress if we're to build these 2 apps. So you can see that we have a project name for each of the different important items, descriptions, potential dependencies with other project, and so on. And I can also toggle this into a Kanban view, so we can actually start using this table as a project management platform, if you will. If we start building this solution, we can start tracking, okay, what's in progress, was completed, and so on. So just in 15 minutes, we've basically been able to do all that to save us a lot of times and give us all the building blocks to visualize a potential idea for new startup and a new product. That's it. Sign up for early access. This is called Miro Flow, if you haven't done so already. And yeah, thanks for watching and have a good one.